Murder for the sake of murder. Turns out that this concept only exists on Earth, so imagine the shock, confusion, and fear the aliens were thrown into when they were exposed to the first intergalactic serial killer. Don't get me wrong, murder does exist in all outer worlds. It's just that the human race is unique in their psychology. An alien will kill, but using logical reasoning, this person is a threat to me, or this person has wronged me, so I will retaliate. This kind of thing. But as it turns out, the human brain chemistry is fundamentally different from all other intelligent species. It gives humans the ability to enjoy the act of killing so much that some would get addicted to it. Or as the aliens now call it, the bloodthirst trait. Earth is new to the intergalactic community. It's only been a couple of years since humans were discovered by a Federation scout ship. The Federation took a keen interest in the humans as their biology was unlike anything they've ever seen. There may be countless alien species out there in the galaxy, but most of them are similar on a cellular level. Their looks and physical structure may be different, but ultimately, they're all made out of the same stuff. But not the Earth dwellers. Humans were somehow biologically way more complex. This fascination with humans made the Federation sponsor Earth and quickly introduce and integrate the human race into the intergalactic community. A mistake that would cost them dearly. Now, just as the aliens were interested in human biology, some humans were extremely interested in theirs. Just like the human saying goes, when you stare into the abyss stares back. The human exposure to the alien worlds was groundbreaking. Countless issues the humans faced were starting to be solved, including unemployment. Humans can now easily find jobs in outer worlds and the countless spaceships that navigate the galaxy. A lot of people would gather in spaceports and wait in designated areas where they would be picked out by recruiters for manual labor jobs aboard their spacecrafts. This practice was never an issue for aliens. It was a logical transaction for them. You pick up a worker, he stays and works on the ship for a designated period of time. He gets paid, and that's it. Never in their wildest dreams would they think that someone would board a ship not for monetary gain, but for other nefarious reasons. The first murder was very puzzling to the aliens. A Krogunk was found dead aboard a cargo ship that was transporting stardust to one of the eastern nebulas. The Krogunk's body was found opened up, emptied out from all the organs, and even drained of all its blood. The 12 limbs of the Krogunk were severed and missing. As weird and disturbing this incident was to the aliens, it was dismissed as a predator attack. They thought that because of the missing organs and limbs, that it must have been a predator creature that infiltrated the ship and ate the Krogunk. But the second murder quickly ended that naive train of thought. This one involved a Xantharian, a highly intelligent and peaceful race that uses their scarlet red eyes for telepathic communication. The body of the Xantharian was found in the engineering bay of a transportation vessel, pinned to the wall by industrial-grade nails. Limbs separated from the torso and nailed separately, its prized eyes gouged out and translucent skin etched with weird symbols, meaningless scribbles to the crew, but unmistakably intentional. All internal organs were missing as well. The Xantharians were shook to their cores when they were brought in to see what had happened to one of their own. They had never encountered anything remotely similar in their entire existence. No creature they knew, intelligent or otherwise, would kill without purpose. Telepathic scans of everyone aboard the ship resulted in nothing. The killer had hidden their thoughts, or worse, felt nothing when committing the act. It was beyond their comprehension. And the fact that this was a transportation vessel used to transport individuals to many places, there was no telling if the culprit was even still on board. The Federation had no choice but to regard it as an unsolved crime, and the workers were compensated and sent on their way. Then came the third murder, this time a Ganthorian, a species of giant, turtle-like creatures with a hardened exoskeleton. It was found in a Federation-controlled research vessel. Despite its great physical strength, the Ganthorian had been murdered without a struggle, its protective shell meticulously cracked and peeled away. Like the others, the limbs were severed, but this time they were placed again in the wrong positions. The arms where the legs should be, and the legs where the arms were. The internal organs were missing, and the skin etched with the ominous scribbles. Each death was becoming more gruesome, more detailed, more artistic. The Federation could no longer ignore the pattern. A task force was formed to investigate. The best minds from many outer worlds were gathered to try and figure out what was happening. Experts in xenobiology, forensic science, and even criminal psychology, a field that the aliens had little knowledge of. They examined the murders, compared data, searched for links, and theorized endlessly, but still, no motive nor reason could be deduced. The one common thread in all the murders was the presence of human workers in each location. At first, this meant nothing. Humans were now a common sight in spaceports, aboard freighters, and on distant colonies. But as the body count rose and the method of each murder became more elaborate, the Federation's fascination with humanity began to shift. They began to suspect something darker lurking within these newcomers. A breakthrough came when an ancient and rarely used school of thought, a field the humans would call psychopathology, was dusted off from the archives of several different alien cultures. Despite having virtually eradicated violent crime among their species millennia ago, some had preserved their histories of such behavior. The task force began to see a chilling parallel. The murders seemed to reflect the actions of an entity not driven by instinct, retaliation, or survival, but by something much more insidious: pleasure. The idea was foreign, grotesque, and terrifying. Murder for enjoyment, for sport? To them, it was an abomination. Then the unthinkable happened. The task force received a message. Broadcast anonymously through subspace, it contained no words, just images. Photos of each victim, posed, mutilated, disfigured, and alongside them, the same etchings that had been found on the bodies. The task force was left shook. The message was clear. This was not random. This was a signature, a claim to fame. But the message contained one more piece of information, a glimpse of the killer. There, in the final image, was a human, smiling, his expression calm, his eyes cold. The Federation's worst fears were confirmed. This was not a predator, nor an accident. This was a human, acting out of free will. The shock spread across the worlds. The incidents have become public knowledge, and news spread quickly across the galaxies. The aliens were terrified. They had never been in such a position. The thought that anyone could be randomly killed with no reason and have their flesh mutilated and experience a painful and slow death was new to the intergalactic community. They had no experience in how to handle such fear. The outer world's economies were severely affected as many aliens were too scared to board and work on spacecrafts, all because of one individual who they started calling the Maniac Surgeon. The Federation now faced a problem they had never considered in their millennia of peaceful cooperation. Every species, no matter how biologically different, had always followed the same fundamental logic of survival. Even the most aggressive races fought with reason, not for perverse satisfaction. But humanity was different. The human brain, with its unique blend of aggression, curiosity, and capacity for abstract pleasure, had produced something alien even to the aliens, a predator that killed not out of need or fear, but out of desire. They called it the bloodthirst. A state of emergency was declared. Humans were quarantined on their home planet, Earth locked down as Federation diplomats demanded answers from human leaders. They wanted to know how such a being could exist, how a society could produce someone so vile. The humans were equally confused. The existence of serial killers and perverted criminals was a normal thing throughout human history. This reaction from the humans was deeply disturbing to the aliens. The humans happily cooperated with the Federation, saying that they'll show them how they deal with this sort of thing. Psychologists, sociologists, and criminal profilers from both human and alien backgrounds were brought in to study the Maniac Surgeon. Yet as they got deeper into the mind of the killer, the aliens began to realize that this bloodthirst might not be as rare as they hoped. A thought began to spread among the Federation leadership. What if this was not an aberration, but a latent potential in all humans? What if the human fascination with violence, entertainment full of war, crime, and conflict was merely a reflection of this dark trait? Could the bloodthirst lie dormant in more humans, waiting for the right moment to awaken? The Federation was faced with an unprecedented decision. Should humanity, with its remarkable intelligence and potential, be allowed to continue integrating into the intergalactic community? Or did this potential for senseless violence make them too dangerous, too unpredictable to coexist with the rest of the galaxy? The aliens had always believed that peace, logic, and understanding were the cornerstones of civilized life. But now, staring into the cold, lifeless eyes of a human killer, they were forced to ask themselves, did we invite a monster into our midst,